You hear anyone, they say, the minute you get hit, I thought, oh, that's not for me. But the minute I got hit, I thought, whoa, come on then. That's how, you know what I mean? I was surprised by it because, 2 body punches in my previous fight, me, Jose Luis Castillo, were like that.
Yeah.
Joe Cortez.
Standing there watching.
Stood there watching it. The Mayweather fight, you can't watch the 2 fights and then come back and tell me you did a good job in the Mayweather fight.
How do you get to a point where you don't believe what he's saying?
Because my dad's my dad.
Blood's thicker.
Well, it's my dad's my dad, As much as I love Billy, my dad's still my dad.
This is Up Front with me, Simon Jordan. I believe there are a lot of vacuous, uninformed, unchallenged opinions out there. I want to get to the bottom line and cut through the nonsense. So with this podcast with William Hill, I'm going to get people with strong views who think they can stand them up to proper scrutiny. There's a good chance I might learn something along the way, and more importantly, so might you. Joining me in today's episode, a boxer born out of Manchester who would rise to become a 2-weight world champion. He experienced iconic highs against Kostya Tszyu and ultimate lows with Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. From the UK to Vegas, a legendary English crowd followed in a story of glory and personal challenge. The Hitman, Ricky Hatton.
Yeah,
Welcome to
thanks
Up
for
Front.
having me, Simon. Thank you.
Nice to see you, mate.
Yeah, good.
You're not going to remember this, or you might remember it, but I always try and find a segue into the conversation about something that we might have had in common. And in 2004, I met you in Porto Banús, and you were in a pub in Lineker's having a drink, and I came in with Ian Dowie.
That's right,
And I think we just got promoted, and you irritated me because you were more interested in talking to Ian Dowie than you were to me. And I was like, but I'm the owner.
Well, it made me look better looking, that's what it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll let you say that one. But
sorry, Ian.
But now, listen, I've got plenty of jokes about him. Anyway, look, Rick, the way that we start these conversations, the way that I start them, is to try and get underneath the bonnet and understand what it was that took you on the path that you went on in terms of how you got into boxing and the achievements that you had. So it gets framed in this sort of overriding statement of what is your why? What makes you do something? What was your motivation to go into what is a very, very difficult sport?
But I was getting picked on and beat up by a kid at school. And my mum and dad were always doing these, go and tell the teacher, go and tell the teacher. So I'd go and tell the teacher. But this kid was knocking shit out of me every day. So I thought, and then someone said to me, oh, he goes to the boxing gym, Rick, down the road,
right.
the Louvre Light boxing gym. So I said, oh, right, I thought I'll go down there and give it a go. So, and I only really went to go to watch spar with this kid.
Right.
So I went a couple of training sessions, and then they put me in the ring sparring with him, and he peppered me a little bit and pinged me a little bit, for the first couple of sessions. But then, after a couple of weeks, I started getting the better of him, and I was knocking lumps out of him in the end. And I thought to myself, God, wow, it gave me such huge confidence in the sense that I thought, wow, this fellow was knocking lumps out of me a few weeks ago, and look what I'm doing now, So it's sort of like, give me the confidence. Incidentally, is this kid off the estate, and I still see him knocking about now. We're still pals, if you like. So that's another nice. But that's always the way with boxing, isn't it? But yeah, then I was hooked then, and then just the training and the work ethic and stuff like that. That's that comes with the boxing game. I just fell in love with the game.
So that was the catalyst in terms of, was it your dad's attitude to say go to the gym? Or, how did you get to the gym in the first place?
Well, my dad, I had very good parents, to be honest with you. Back in the day, they used to run me about, whether it be to football, to boxing and that. And you need, so there's so many, very fortunate, no disrespect, there's a lot of parents out there that can't be bothered. They just sit on their ass and they don't bother doing anything. But I had parents that way, if I wanted to go to the boxing gym, me and Matthew, they'd take us to the boxing gym. If they wanted to go to football, we'd take us to football. Before the boxing, we both did kickboxing and stuff like that. And just seeing me, how hard they worked, working in the carpet shop in the afternoon, then coming to the pub, working at night, collecting glasses, picking glasses up, you know what I mean? Then taking me to football, So I grew up seeing, parents that...
Discipline and work ethic.
Yeah, they worked hard, so we had a family holiday. We wasn't loaded, we wasn't rolling in money, but they always worked hard to give us the best we could.
It's such a unique sport, and it's a sport that I have such an admiration for, because what I try to understand is the trigger, because you're going into the hurt business. Do you go into that environment with a sense of anger and frustration in life? Because in order to be able to dish out punishment and to receive punishment, you've got to have a certain mindset. and it's a unique mindset. I mean, is that in any of your background? Is it just simple? Was the trigger this kid beating you up all the time, and that was what released the idea of saying, "I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind dispensing some of that back."
Yeah, a little bit, but I think it's I went to the boxing gym to to give this kid a slap, like,
Yeah.
but then when I got in there and I saw and I started sparring, and I think there's so many people that give it a go, and fair play to them for even getting in the ring and having a spar, let alone like a fight. But I think they just the minute you hear anyone, they say, the minute you get hit, I thought, oh, that's not for me. But the minute
I tried that, man. It definitely wasn't for me.
The minute I got it, I thought, whoa, come on then. That's
Right.
how, you know what I mean? And that's how, and as I said about my parents, having the work ethic and the drive that helped me. But I think the big factor is like to get paid for a living, to get hit in the face and paid for a living, you've got to have a slate shot somewhere or something.
Well, I was actually having that conversation with one of Anthony Joshua's team, who said exactly that. You've got to have a slate shot to do that.
You've got to be something not right with you. And I think that's why, like yourself, Simon, that's why you said so many people respect boxers. Because, you could probably turn around and say, you know what, I could do a little bit of cricket, or I could do a bit of acting, or, I could go and play football at the Etihad or Old Trafford or something like that. But if you ask people, could I do boxing? The high majority go, no
thanks. Yeah.
And that's why at Vegas, when you go to Vegas and all the big fights are on, all the film stars are there, all the football stars, all the basketball stars. And I think it's because people sort of like look at our sport and go, you know what, I could give anything a go, me. But I couldn't do that.
As a slight pivot, I'm going to put this as a marker. When you walked in, I mean, your life could have been so different in so many different ways. You probably would have gone off in directions and given your personality, probably been successful in something else. But the Billy Graham effect, walking into the Phoenix gym and the relationship that you developed, I mean, how important was that for you as an individual?
Yeah, I mean, when we just spoke about, they're in the hardest game in the world. Hardest game in the world, and the punishment you take, in order to do it, it's so important, the bond that you get with the trainer. You know what I mean? Because when the things are not going right in the fight, and there has been times in the fights when it's not been going right and everything like that, you want to be able to, look in your trainer's eyes and know that he's throwing every punch for you. Everything he says, you believe in. And me and Billy got that pretty much from day one, the minute, I walked through the door. And Billy said in the documentary, I was like his brother and we were best mates, and it was very, very true. And it's heartbreaking the way it figured out. But me and Billy had a relationship. I knew when Billy told me something in that corner, such was the love we had, and our relationship was, I knew he wasn't there for the paycheck. I knew he wasn't there to put, he's not bothered about putting the lecky on or the heating in the house. He's there for me. And every time we looked in each other's eyes, that was the closeness we had. And it was a shame that for that short period where we fell out, we've made up now, and we get on, great. But I mean, for that period, it was a heartbreaking one for me. But I mean, you're in the hurt business, you're in the fight game, and that, and I couldn't, Billy accepted a fight. He accepted a fight because he thought it was the best fight for me. He's not got other issues like, I could.
Well, you're putting your life in their hands to some extent, aren't you?
Absolutely,
you watch the situations and the choices that were made. You look at Billy Joe Saunders and the fight against Canelo Alvarez, and his trainer takes him out and protects him from himself. And you look at Daniel Dubois, again, the fight that we went to in lockdown when he fights Joe Joyce, and Daniel has to make the decision and the ramifications of it. So it just struck me up. I'm not comparing. I mean, I've been involved in tennis and I've seen coaches coach tennis players, and there's a bond there. But there's something ethereal and absolutely deep about the relationship between a boxing trainer and his fighter.
Yeah, it's like the love we had, for for each other, and the trust that we had, in the corners. But from forget that for a minute and just look at the actual, just the boxing, side of things. When I first went to Billy's gym as a 16-year-old, and we started talking about boxing, and he'd say, "What do you think about this, Rick? Or what do you think about that?" And I'd go, "Yeah, Billy, what do you reckon with this? What do you reckon with that?" And just when it come to discussing a fight or a tactic or the game plan, you know what I mean? We just clicked on everything that we said. And then after a few years together, within the ring, he'd say something to me and I'd say something back. And I knew what he was thinking before he even said it. Do you know what I mean? That's
the connection.
The connection. That's, not just the connection a respect and a love point of view, but from a tactic and a boxing thing. We just knew how to, how to read each other. And Billy, my dad used to argue with Billy like that, because I was always when I got to championship level, where the gaps were bigger in between my fights. Obviously, I ballooned up and put a load of weight on in between fights, And my dad was like, Billy, you should be telling him he shouldn't be doing this, he shouldn't be doing that. Don't let him come in the gym on Monday. If he's not in that gym Monday, tell him not to bother for the rest of the week.
You're right, though, isn't he?
And my dad is right, but Billy, Billy knew that.
That wasn't you.
If I said that to Rick, listen, Rick, we're starting training on Monday, because he said in the documentary, didn't it? I never started my training camp on Monday because Sunday wasn't the whole day.
Yeah, exactly.
And my dad used to go, get in the gym, tell him not to bother in the gym like that. Billy knew me that well. He knew he said that to me, Rick, don't bother in the rest of the gym. I'd go, all right. And he wouldn't see me, and he knew how to get. I knew I had to have me, and I wouldn't let Campbell do it now. All my boxers that I train, if they did what I did, I'd tell you what, they get a thick ear. Yeah. But Billy knew how I tricked. He knows if I had turned around and said, don't bother coming in the gym, I'd go, all right. And he wouldn't see me.
He was he is to some extent the stuff of legends, isn't he?
Yeah.
And when you see the documentary, and I don't want to rely too much on the documentary, because that is what it was. And we both know when you shoot something, things can be done out of order and said in different contexts.
Yeah.
But he is a strange brew, and he came across that way as a sort of mystical figure.
Yeah, we were a strange pair together, to be honest. I mean, I did everything that a boxer probably shouldn't do, away from the gym, and he was like, he'd be, have a monkey over his shoulder, then he'd have snakes in the gym.
Because he makes the observations.
And his tattoos. Did you see the size of his cigarette ashtray?
I did, yeah.
You're like, Billy, what?
But he made the comment, didn't he? I prefer animals to people.
Yeah. And I think that was, I know what you mean by that, because it was the fallout, that I fell out with my mum and dad, and that, and in the documentary was.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that, and that's not the main focus of this conversation, because I know it's a subject that's probably sensitive to you. We're going to talk about it, but we'll talk about it in context. But as far as Billy's concerned in this relationship that you have with him, I remember the conversation that was heard about him in the 11th round telling you're telling him I'm out of gas, and you said, you fucking will not. Right? But when you think of Billy Graham and the influence that he had over you, one of the best things that he would have said to you in the corner, or one of the quirkiest things?
Well, he said to me, when I fought Kostya Tszyu, I mean, I had to put my foot down. I had to work really hard, make him work early in the first few rounds, so he had to raise it. Yep. And then bearing in mind the fact that he'd not gone too many rounds lately, because he was knocking everyone out, and bearing in mind I was the younger man and he was the older man, he said, you've got to set off quick, and then he'll have to play catch up. Yeah. And that's when he's playing catch up, we can drain him in the middle rounds a little bit and stuff like that. But ultimately, it meant me having to work me knackers off, basically, to get the tactics right and that. And it worked. And I think it got to like about round 9 when I come back to the corner, and Billy said to me every round, he went, how does his power feel? I used to go, oh, horrendous, Billy. He's hurting me with everything he's hitting me with. He went, all right, just stay close, smother him, stay close, get a few solid 1s and 2s in. Don't put your foot on the gas just yet, but keep him working. Get to about round 7, round 8. How does he feel? Still as strong as an ox, Billy. Still hurting me. And then I think he got to about the next round, round 9. I got in there and he went, how does it feel now? I went, nothing in him, Bill. I can swing him all over the show. He went, this is our moment now. He said, you're probably around down here at the minute. He said, but we've got him where we want him now. You've got to put your foot on the gas. Never mind the tactics. He said, just keep safe, keep smart, keep switched on, but you've got to put your foot down and go for gold now.
This is the moment,
yeah. And that's what I did. And then sat on my stool at the end of the 11th round. I spat my gum shield out and I went, oh, Billy, that's me. I'm done. I said, I've got no. He went, I don't want to hear that, Ricky. He said, Ricky, I don't want to hear that now. We'll be sat on that gym at Salford, talking about these moments being the undisputed best and this and that. He went, are you telling me you're going to spew it when you've got your nose over the front line here? Don't cry about it tomorrow. He said, don't cry about it tomorrow. He said, when you can do something about it now. And I went, yeah, God. And then the referee, went like that. But there was another time, in Las Vegas when I boxed a guy called Juan Urango for the IBF light welterweight title, and it was my first time in Vegas. Right. So we went to Vegas and we ended up staying in.
That's before you fought Mayweather, right?
Yeah. We ended up staying in the casino, rather than, in an apartment or something like that. We actually stayed in the casino. And if you've been to Vegas,
Yes,
that
I
air
have, yeah.
conditioning and everything like that. So I stayed. They gave me a suite in the Caesar's Palace.
Right.
And after 2 or 3 days of staying, 2, 3 or 4 days of staying in the hotel, my nose set like concrete. I couldn't breathe.
Because of the AC?
Because
they're pumping it in because you want the gambler staying up all night,
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm sleeping there all night, getting up, going to the gym, you know what I mean, and everything like that. And it got to the fight with Juan Urango, and I just felt me nothing after about, I was boxing his head off for about 5 or 6 rounds, and all of a sudden I hit a brick wall. And Urango wasn't one of the best I fought, but he was strong, stocky, big, powerful, heavy-handed, And Billy Graham just said to me, he said, listen, Rick, he said, come on, Rick, you can get through this. Listen, we spoke about this in the gym, some days you're going to turn up, you're going to feel sensational. Some days you're just going to feel like you feel now.
And
He said, you got to power through it.
Yeah.
He said, just sometimes, he said, get your shots off. And then when he counters you back, slip and slide, claim him. And step off and get behind him, you know what I mean? Where you can conserve a little bit, throw your combinations, drop under, get behind him, feint and walk away, and we'll get through it. We'll get through it, Rick. If we do, we've talked about this day had come. We can get through it, mate.
Yeah.
We can get through it, mate. And there was that, he'd look in me.
What is that triggering you? But when you're being asked to go to the well, you know that you're fucked at that moment in time, or you know that something's going on that's not quite where you want it to be. And in the situation with Kostya Tszyu, you're thinking your tank's empty. What's your trainer triggering you when he goes, no, let's go.
You've got, a trainer's got to know the right words to say at the right time, and to know you as a person, what he can say to you, to get you triggered, and that's what he did. And when I said to you, when I looked in Billy's eyes, I knew he was there for me. The love that we had, I knew he was there for me. And there was another fight in Detroit, which you might not remember, because I was only an intercontinental champion, but I boxed in Detroit against a kid called Gilbert Quiros. And I come out the first round, big, tall, power punching Costa Rica he was. He measured me with a jab. He hit me with the right hand, and me cut. I went open, and more importantly, closed. And he's absolutely knocking. If they'd have scored the round, it'd have been 10-4. You know what I mean? He absolutely knocked me from pillar to post. And I sat there. I'm intercontinental champion, and my eyes shut there. The referee, and the blood's falling in it. And he turned, and the referee come over and said, "Because you're champion, Ricky, we're going to give you one more round." And I sat there on my stool, and I thought to myself, Simon, that's it. Even when I fought Mayweather and the fight was just sliding away from me, I still thought I was going to win. But that fight in Detroit, I thought, I'm done. He's beat me. He's beat me. One more round. I'm going to do one more round with this. And Billy went, look at me. He went, well, he said, I tell you what, you've let me down, you. I went, let you down? What are you on about? And he went, you let me down. I've been telling everybody you're going to be the next champion. You're going to be the next star. You're going to the top. We're going to do this. And this is the first fight that your back's been against the wall and you've been running. He said, and your ass has fell out, Rick.
Swallowing, yeah.
You've swallowed it, haven't you? So you're not, I tell you what, you're not the champion I thought you were, you. I tell you what, go on. Get your gum shield at that. You've let me down, you. And you knew what you got. And I thought, and he got out the ring, and I thought I'm going to fucking knock him out. I thought, when I come back, I'm going to fucking knock you out, Billy. Do you know what I mean? And I went out, and I just thought, he was a murderous puncher, and I just thought I was just going through, bang,
I'll
bang,
take him
bang.
on the way in, yeah.
And I got him on the ropes, and I swear, I couldn't see. One eye there, that eye's closed, and I got him on the ropes, and I just went like that to feel where his head was. And when I found his head there, I knew where his rib was, and I went bang, and he left up to the body, and he went down like that, and I was like, wow, like that. And Billy jumped in the ring like, oh my God, we've got away with it, you know what I mean, type thing. And he went to hug me. And I just went, fuck off, Bill. Don't you ever say that to me again. Don't you ever say that to me again. But
it got you going, didn't it?
And it's like you mentioned about, the Carl and George Grove situation, where you think to yourself, oh, that wasn't in the script. I was the same. I thought that wasn't in the script. But, the trainer knows the right words to say at the right time. And I'm
going to get to Kostya Tszyu.
And that's what makes a good trainer.
Of course it does. I'm going to get to Kostya Tszyu because I went to that fight. And there was nothing like that atmosphere. But you have this career that's going now, and you sign with Frank Warren. But when you're building through the gears, and you get to 23 fights, you're unbeaten. You're now in the context of people are beginning to talk about you. By the way, who called you the Hitman? Where did the Hitman come from?
My first amateur coach, Ted Pete. and he's not with us now, God rest his soul. As I walked in the gym to obviously to try and have a spar with this kid that was beating me up. And he turned round and said, listen, Ricky, he said, just get used to the gym and get used to to the lads and this and just have a little bit of luck so you can see how we do things and stuff like that. But you just have a go on that bag, and you do your own thing tonight, so you just get a feel for the gym. So I went, all right. So I spotted my nemesis over there, the kid who was always beating me up, didn't I? So I got on this bag and I started levering it, for his eyes only. Do you know what I mean? Bang, 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 and I was only 11. The bag's flying all over the show like that. And Ted come in and went, oi, 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 oi. And Ted taught me how to box, but he taught me how to swear as well. Right. He went, hey, what's that fucking bag done to you? He said, look at him here. He said, God, we've got a little hitman on our hands here. Look at him, the nasty little, and and it was, Hitman Hatton, it went. Yeah. And then as I got, more into the boxing, I've become a little bit of a boxing historian, didn't I? So I started studying the tapes of all the great fights of yesteryears, and Tommy Hearns was one of my favourites. And
it's not a bad moniker to have, is it?
Hitman Hatton. It's and that's where it basically come from, because I was so aggressive.
You're 23 fights in, because I'm trying to work out why you fought a lot. At the beginning, you were fighting 6, 7, 8 fights a year.
But my first couple of years, I think there was 9 fights a year, mate.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, absolutely. You know better than I do, but that's what I was looking at when I was looking at your records. You get to 23 fights, but why does it take so long for you to get to a world title shot? It's 38 fights before you fight for a world title.
Yeah, but I mean, I had to have faith in Frank Warren, which I did. He's the best at bringing you through and guiding you, to the right position. And
you must have been 5 years between winning a British title to fighting for a world title. It's a fucking long time,
well,
in the world of boxing.
Nowadays it's like, once you get to about 10 fights, you fight for the central area. And then once you have about 13, 14, 15, then you fight for an English. And then once you win the English, you can go straight into, to a British at about 18
and then on
fights.
To European,
and then on to that. But that's not the case. Frank used to turn around and, just say, listen, if you're ready yet, when I say you're ready yet, there's nothing in the boxing textbook that says 10 fights at central area, 15 fights in English, 15 fights in British. He knew what the right time, and when a certain opportunity raises its head, that's not right. That's not right for us yet. We're just going to hang fire a little bit on that, and then all of a sudden, you carry on. You're earning and you're learning. Yeah. Do you know what I mean, in the gym? And then all of a sudden, one does raise its head, and then we'll go for that one now. And that's. But I mean, nobody was better at Frank Warren that.
No, I'm a Frank Warren. I'm a big admirer of Frank's. And I think there's a lot more that Frank does right than he does wrong. There'll always be things that people, whoever you talk about, people will say something that's not always complimentary. Even if it was a Dalai Lama, someone will find something to criticize them for. I'm going to pivot just for a second, because when I was watching the documentary, and I know I've said I'm not going to refer it to too much, but I took a lot. I actually nearly sat there with a tear in my eye, and I'm a miserable bastard, so for me to get a tear in my eye, because it felt to me like this wonderful support that you built up was as good for you as it potentially could have been bad for you. But you, as a man of the people, did you embrace that moniker? Did you think to myself, this is good, I've got a really good support base behind me, I can really utilise this?
Yeah, I think a bit of both, to be honest with you. I think from a very, very young age, I'd sort of like, I had 9 fights in my first year as a professional, so ultimately, that means, you're fighting every 6 weeks. So I lived in the gym. I didn't live in the gym, so I didn't see my mates, that I went to school with. I didn't see my mates that I used to go and have a pint with or something like that. And I used to think to myself, I'm going to go in the pub today and have an orange juice to see the lads, because I used to think that, because they started seeing me on Sky Television and see me fights and everything like that. In my mind, I thought to myself, I don't want them thinking I've got too big for my station, I've got too big for my boots and like that. And that's a weak, when we talk about mental health and that's a little weak. That's a weak part of Ricky Hatton. I felt that way. I thought, I'm thinking to myself, they were all sat in the pub and doing their own things and watching me on the TV, thinking, look at my mate there, how proud are we? Yeah. But in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I bet they think I've got
Billy
too big for me. Yeah, Billy Big Time and everything like that. It got a little bit worse as I got success, and then then they had a few speed bumps, didn't we? Along the way and that. So I loved the fact that, because I've always wanted to entertain, whether it's been with the microphone when I do my sportsman's dinners, or whether I'm boxing in the ring or whatever. I've always wanted to be entertainment, put a show on for my fans. So I'd love the fact that I had a massive, massive fan base and that. But when we talk about, I think it might have added, when we talk about the mental health, and I had this little weak thing inside me, having the big crowd was great, but it added pressure a little bit.
That's what I was going to say.
Sort of like, not that I'm not saying my fans put pressure on me.
No, but you put pressure on yourself.
It just was the way it was.
Yeah. I'm going to get on to the Mayweather fight, obviously, but you eventually land against Kostya Tszyu. But when you're going into that fight and you're building up to this fight, was it true that Frank Warren didn't think it was the right fight for you?
No, he didn't. And there was
38 fights.
And there was a little bit. Frank knew the right way to bring me up to them 38 fights, and a lot of people, I think to myself, well, Frank was like, I don't know, I'm not too sure, and I was like, I think we need a few more. And I was like, Frank, we've had 38. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Frank was great, the best in how to bring a youngster up and through and get him to that point. But I think Frank would also admit, to be honest, we probably prolonged it a little bit longer than normal, because you only had to mention I was fighting at the Manchester Arena and it was sold.
Sold out,
you've got to look at it from that point of view. It was in Frank's interest it was in both our interests to get paid. We're selling out crowds.
Did you have any doubts going into that fight?
Oh yeah,
he came with a monster reputation, didn't he? He came with a Canelo Alvarez reputation, didn't he?
Yeah. There was no, but that was always my best. Even though I had this little weakness in me that we touched on before, when it come to boxing in that ring, I felt no one could beat me. I had such self-belief, such confidence in my own self-belief that I could do it. And people were saying, no, Ricky's defence is going to walk onto a right hand there, and that's going to be that. You know what I mean? We love Ricky and everything like. And I used to use it as my fuel. I used to think, I'll fucking show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you. You think I get caught? You think my defence is leaky? I'll show you. And I think it was the same with me against Kostya Tszyu in Manchester. And because it was a Mancunian in Manchester, fighting the number one in the division and someone of the Kostya Tszyu nature, even the atmosphere, as you said, was absolutely
this is what I want to ask you.
But they was like, when I got in the ring, I could see the crowd pumping.
It was 2 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 o'clock in the morning as well.
I'm looking in the ring and I'm looking through the ropes and I'm going, come on, to my fans. And I'm looking at them and they're all cheering back for me. But I could feel although they were behind me, there was a
bit of trepidation.
There was a nervous tension in when everyone's going, come on, oh shit.
But what was it like for you? I mean, I was in the arena and I'm looking at this atmosphere going, I've been to some fights and I've been to some occasions, but Jesus Louise, the atmosphere in this place. Yeah. What was it like for you from hearing it from the dressing room to coming out? I mean, you've talked about pressure, right? You're 38 unbeaten. You're fighting a monster in the division, and you've got no fear in your mind. But this crowd is absolutely lifting it off. What's that like for you as a fighter, coming out of a dressing room, walking through that crowd? Try and put me in your shoes so I can understand what that feels like.
It brings nearly tears to your eyes. I mean, I was walking to the gym and I didn't have tears in my eyes. That's the last thing you want is tears in your eyes. But I'm walking to the gym and I can feel the love off the crowd. So I can feel this nervous tension, but I can feel the love off the crowd, the support that they want. I've been at the Manchester Arena, when Cows box, George.
Yep.
David A. box, R.D. Harrison, Anthony Crowler's been there. Anthony Crowler's a Mancunian, and I've been to fight. Even when Mike Tyson went boxed at the Manchester Arena, I was on the undercard for that, so I've been there in the crowd. So I've seen the Manchester Arena full to the rafters and everything like that.
I've been to some recent fights and seen Liam Smith, but the yours was different.
I've never, ever heard a thing for the crowd, and it's just looking into the crowd, and I'm walking to the ring, you know what I mean, and I'm like, I'm a crier, me. I cry out films. I'm a bit of a wimp, and I'm one of them. And I'm walking to the ring, but I'm holding me, trying to hold my nerves together, keep your game plan together. Remember what you're doing. Because it's dead easy for
What's
you.
Billy saying to you?
And Billy didn't say anything to me
No.
in the changing room, because we had that sort of relationship. I used to say, Billy, in the changing rooms, I went, just say, if you need to say something to me, just say a quick this, that, and all the rest of it. But
get to the point, yeah.
Yeah, but I said, but Billy, I said, my music's going on and I want to get my head on and in the zone where I need to be. I said, if there's something you need to tell me, just tell me.
Did it come to your mind? I can't lose here. Does that come into play? I can't lose here.
It hadn't at the time, because don't forget, I didn't know what losing was back then.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Not
I was thinking,
do
you know what I mean? I was thinking, so it was all about that.
Yeah.
It's then when I got beat by Mayweather, I thought, I've let people down.
We'll
and then
get to
when I
that.
got beat by,
We'll get to that.
But at the Kostya Tszyu fight, no, it was like I was like how you said when you get in that ring, you don't share it with 11 players.
Yeah.
But it was like having a sub.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As Billy was saying that to me, as we touched on earlier in the 11th round, come on, Ricky, you never forgive yourself tomorrow, this, like that.
Yeah.
I've also got the crowd, because the crowd, there was like a nervous tension in the air. Well, nice one, Ricky. And then middle rounds, it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, hang on. Bit of a
But
bump
then I got to the stage where they went, he's got his nose in front, now he's going to do this, But I was on my stool thinking, so not only was Billy giving me the right words at the right time to say, I could hear this crowd, I could hear him at ringside, not necessarily anyone I knew.
Yeah, but you
Ricky,
just hear
you've got him, this is your time, you've got him, he's gone.
Oh, we were all screaming, man.
Yeah. And, so if you look at it from that point of view, it massively helped.
Your reaction was absolute. Was it relief? Was it pride? Was it just an outpouring of emotion because you're in this cauldron of absolute support for you?
All them things.
All
you
them
know what
things,
I mean? When Billy, it was all like, oh, you've Billy, when I fell after the Kostya Tszyu fight, Billy was like, you've done it, son, you've done it, your son. And I was like, no, we've done it, we've done it.
Yeah.
And then I think to myself, back about the crowd thing and, about me weakness, like that. I felt like, I jumped out the ring, thanks, mum and dad.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
To the referee, Dave, thanks, Dave, thanks to the crowd, Billy, thanks, what I mean? That's always, what I mean?
But that's
to
why
be honest
fans
with you,
would have related to
the way I felt, I could hear the fans on my ring walk, and the way I could hear it during the fight. And then when I spat my gumshoe out and I thought I was done, the way they raised me a little bit along with Billy's, words like that. And I thought to myself, I've never been to a boxing fight, whether I've been in the ring or whether I've gone watching it in the crowd. I've never been
had this,
and seen the support and love that these crowd are giving me. So I got the mic and I wanted to thank him. And it's, and if you said to me, what would be your best ever win? I mean, if I'd have got Kostya Tszyu with a left hook to the body and flopped him in 2 rounds, I'd have took that all day, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
But the thing, it couldn't have been any better than in Manchester, 22,000 fans at 2 a.m. against the number 1 in the weight division, the number 2 ranked pound for pound and all that.
He quits.
One of the best lightweight. For him to quit on his stool and say, please leave me the fuck alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then for me to grab the mic and thank the crowd and, and say, give Kostya a round of applause. Then if you remember, he got the mic and went, Ricky was better than me in any way today. And if you ever need any help from me, it's proper tear-jerking shit, isn't it? You know what I mean?
It's proper stuff, though, isn't it? It's proper substance.
I couldn't have had my dream fight to end I couldn't have written it better.
I'm going to take you into Billy Graham, and I'm going to take you into a couple of thorny areas that you might bristle at, but we'll see how we go. All right. Billy talks about after the Kostya Tszyu fight that the lunatics start taking over the asylum. Did you understand what it meant at the time, or what he was referring to, or do you understand it better now?
I think I think what he means is probably and my ex touched on it. Yeah, they started becoming more and more talks about money.
Well, you're in that space now, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to get paid.
Kostya Tszyu, and I think Jamie Ward said it. Everyone's sees him sees as a commodity and stuff like that. And
but your dad described you that way. So I've got a diamond here, not a quartz.
Yeah. And it's sort of like that's how it went from we want to train and trying to be the best. Well, now we're the best. It's as if now we want as much money as we can.
But you're a prize fighter. You're a prize fighter.
Yeah, but we still want to be. We still hang on a minute. You know what I mean? The money, and it's like, and it's money. It does mean a lot of it, but I mean, if you're successful, the money will come with the success.
Of course,
you've got to look at it that way to have the hunger. Because if the minute you start thinking, I want to beat Kostya Tszyu, The minute you start thinking, oh, never mind, Kostya Tszyu, I'm getting paid that much. That's when it, and that's what I think Billy
was referring to.
That's what I think. You know, I might be wrong, but I think that's what it.
But what's going on here? I mean, what's going on in this situation? There's so much rancor. You know, I've got this mixed emotions about fathers and being involved in their sons' lives and their sporting careers. What's going on, Ricky? You know, your dad's getting involved without necessarily the expertise in the industry, and there are relationships that are breaking down that have been pivotal to you. Frank Warren's guidance has been pivotal to you to get you to a position where you trust his judgment. It took 38 fights to get a world title shot, and you're comfortable that he's done the right things for you. Billy Graham's been the intellectual capital behind your talent, but all of this is falling apart. What's happening here?
It's very hard to say. The main thing is that when no one's bothered when these pennies involved, but then when more comes involved, then and everyone has their own little bit to say. And I was always the one. I think, listen, I mean, my dad, we were trusted wholeheartedly.
Was he right?
Is my dad?
Was he right with the things he did at the time? When you look back, both of you now, because you're in a relationship which has been rekindled.
I think I was probably the guilty one in the sense that I'm my own man. You know what I mean? And I should have had a little bit more interest in what was happening.
Exactly was my thought.
So I'm not putting any blame. Not putting any blame on me on anyone. I'm turning around and saying, if I could turn the clock back, and I could turn around, I'd have just looked a little bit into what was happening in that area.
Yeah.
And then maybe would have saved that. I mean, it shouldn't have happened anyway. Because I mean, listen, my job is to get on with me boxing. You do the training, you do the promoting, you look after me finances, Dad. That's all I'm bothered about.
Yeah.
And then when all this stuff come on board, I was like, oh, what do we do here?
Yeah.
What do we do here?
But wouldn't it have been the way, without me telling you your business, would it have been a better way to have done it with him?
Well, it was like
there's this. We'll talk about Mayweather in isolation, but there was this moment that a legend has it said, and only you will know, that your dad came into the dressing room after the Mayweather loss and tore a sheet off.
Yeah.
Billy Graham.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
You don't remember?
Because I mean, my head was.
But did it happen?
I believe so. Yeah. My mates won't lie, and the thing is, my mates, and my dad's mates, and that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all. Very, very close knit. And I think that was the most hard thing to come out of the documentary is that, now we was all so close. It was like, it was all like a family, whether it was Frank and Billy and my dad and my mates and Hattersley and the fans, it was just, and then all of a sudden I found myself in all this friction, whether it be with Frank and my dad and Billy and this and that and all the rest of it. And maybe I turned a blind eye to a lot of it. I didn't want to, I didn't want to see it. I thought, just get on with your training, it will sort itself out and this, that. But like you say, if I could have turned the clock back, I think what I'd have done, I think I'd have just had a little bit more input to what was going on. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm my own man. I mean, and I should have done.
Yeah.
When money comes into it, it's not that you don't trust who's handling it for you.
Yeah.
It's my money. I should have an interest in it.
Well, you should know what it is.
I was a little bit bone idle in that area. Let's put it that way. And I think everyone
else would do
still
it for me.
Still shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
For whatever, who's at fault or whatever. But if I'd have had a little bit more interest, maybe I could have stopped it.
Have you lost any trust? Do you look back on it and think my trust was abused there by certain parties?
A little bit, but all I do know is
look forward.
Look forward. Everything, everything positive, for me, and that's, and I think that's the way we've all got to look at it, whether, life's too short, you know what I mean? Whether you're Frank Warren, whether you're Billy Graham, whether you're me, whether you're mum and dad, you know what I mean?
How'd you end up in court?
I want the best.
How did you end up in court? How did it get to the point? Why was nobody around you saying, this is bastard stupid to be in court? This is degrading for everybody, for you, for your father, for Billy Graham. Was there nothing that anyone could have said?
Me and my dad went in court against Billy. Billy claimed that I hadn't paid him enough
for the Mayweather fight. Yeah,
and it was an horrible position for me to be in. But I was, me and my dad went into court. Me and my dad.
But the outcome of that was you found other stuff out that you didn't know.
Me and my dad was against against Billy, to be honest, which was
But
heartbreaking.
how did that? But Bill, but Ricky, I know you're not. I know you don't like this subject, but I've got to ask you because it's a part of your story. You've got this relationship with Billy Graham where you've eat, sleep, shit, and fucked the life of boxing. You've trusted him to such a point that he can get you off a stool when you don't feel like it, when you think that everything's gone. How do you get to a point where you don't believe what he's saying?
Because my dad's my dad.
Blood's thicker.
He's my dad's my dad, I love him. My dad's my dad, and he was handling my finances. And as much as I love Billy, my dad's still my dad,
Blood.
So but I mean, the top and bottom of it is to be put in a position. I was in that position because the way it was handled, it put me in that position.
Yeah.
But I was with my dad.
Yeah.
It was me and my dad. Sadly, I'm sorry to say, up against me and Billy.
Yeah.
And the reason why, we say you shouldn't have really been in that,
But Billy was right, though, wasn't he?
position. I don't know. But they settled out of court, and I can't really comment too.
I don't want to know your money
I
situation.
can't really comment too much on that. All it is at the minute, I just want to be,
Up and onwards.
yeah, up and on.
Up
For all of us, my
Up and
mum
onward.
and dad.
I've got
Billy,
listen. I
Frank,
have to ask you this stuff. Otherwise, it's not a conversation. And if it's a conversation on only the things that you like, then it's not a conversation. I'm not trying to be arsehole clever with you. So I'm going to take you into Mayweather now, and that whole experience. You're going in 43-0. He's 39-0. Talk to me about Mayweather, because I don't like all this money shit and all this nonsense that everything's about money. Everyone gets paid, but the brilliance of the fighter to me is diminished by the personality a little bit. What when you're leading up to this fight, what was your thoughts on Mayweather?
As the person, I'm a firm believer. Don't judge anyone until you've
A book by its cover.
yeah, until you've met them. You know what I mean? And I know boxing's changed a lot over the years, and even it changed back then, and it's changed even more now. With the social media world that we live in and that. And I know you've got to hype up fights and this, that, and all the rest of it. But Mayweather never used to. Whether it was Los Angeles, New York, Las Vegas, he'd get in my face, he'd slag me off, he'd do this, he'd do that, and part of me thinks, that's what you've got to do, you've got to sell the show. But there was never one time where Floyd would come to me behind the curtains going, "Hey, Rick, how you doing, mate?
No.
You okay? All it is, we're building up, you know what it is, nothing personal." No, there was nothing like that. I generally thought,
You said it was tough putting up with that
yeah.
dickhead.
Well,
Right.
I spent 4 weeks with him, on that 24/7 tour, and in that 24/7 tour, I know we're built. That's what the tour is, to publicise the fight.
Yeah.
But he never, come over and shook my hand or shook my dad's hand or spoke to us or anything like that. I just think to myself, I'm from the council estate, and he's from the same equivalent in the States,
The
which
projects.
is projects.
Yeah.
So let's, I mean, I feel bad sometimes when I go to Hattersley, which was where I was, the council estate where I was, but I feel bad driving my car around there. But I can't see anybody sat in any of the bars in the projects, when Floyd's going,
Yeah.
look at me 250 on my pinky and look at the 300 on my wrist. I can't
Oh,
see
we
anyone.
love him.
I
He's
can't
one
see
of
anyone
us,
in the project sat there. Can't put the electric on, can't put the heater on. No, pot to piss in. Say,
yeah.
tell you what, and he done us proud him.
Yeah.
No, what they're going to think? Come down
Pull out
here.
an Uzi and take it off him.
Yeah, if he comes down here, I'm going to stick a knife in that dick.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do, aren't they? You know what I mean?
He was a saucy
I
subject.
like to go down my Hattersley, and every kid or every parent or everyone say to me, "Oh, Ricky, hey, brilliant, how you doing? Can you have a picture like that?" What's he going to do if he goes down to his...
He runs with a different crowd now, doesn't he?
And that's the different, you want people, I say, listen, work hard. I come from where you come. If you try and work hard and you dedicate yourself and say, what, if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
What
I
does
get
he
it.
do? What does he do? Hey, kid, you want a picture? Come and have a picture. Look at me watch. Fuck off.
He's a saucy sod, though, isn't he? When you look back on it, it makes you laugh, though, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because he
Listen, we're all
he puts
made-
on
we're
a Man
all
United
made
shirt.
differently.
Puts
I
on a
mean,
Man United shirt, doesn't he?
Oh,
Knowing
that's-
your
yeah,
allegiance.
That's original, yeah.
Yeah.
Never seen that done before.
When you went into that fight, was there any doubts in your mind? Because you were still unbeaten that time, so it's doubtful that there would be. But was your approach that this was a fight that you're going to win?
Absolutely, because don't forget, at that time, I'd never tasted defeat.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm going in there. You know, if I'd got a couple of defeats on my record, I might have thought, well, this could go tits up. But I mean, I was undefeated.
But it's always
and
doubts,
the
though,
show
isn't it?
the show was called The Undefeated. Like you
Yeah.
say, I was
Battle
43. I
of the
think
Hour,
he was
yeah.
39, and so I didn't think. So I went over there, you know, grateful for the opportunity and for my biggest payday and everything like that. But I thought I could be the number one pound for pound here. I went over there thinking I was going to beat him.
But people observed on you, didn't they? I mean, I know this is all retrospective, but Steve Bunce, you know, in the documentary, talked about watching you change in those press conferences where he felt that you were getting reeled in by Floyd. Do you think that there's any substance into that you were drawn into something where, well, why you were different in that press conference? You were far more vociferous, far more aggressive, and you got involved in what Steve Bunce, and I like Steve, I think he's a very good observer. I'm sure you probably think the same.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Thomas Hauser, the same thing. That you were drawn into things and acting in a way. Was that just the scale of the event? Or was that just being around Floyd Mayweather for 4 weeks or whatever?
You know, it's very, very hard to do it. You know, we had the 4 weeks. It's very easy to say he'd been drawn in, and like Steve's right when
you're the only one that knows
when he says that. But in my own mind, I went off the stage behind the curtain after, you know, laughing my bollocks off. Do you know what I mean? I was like, when he cut that with 10,000 fans there, and we got the nose and and everything like that. So I can see why, but you know, it's very hard not to get drawn in, and you've got the weigh-in with 10,000 of my fans.
Yeah, I know. I saw it, mate. Yeah, I'm telling you.
40,000 fans come over. They took over the place. That's his hometown. You know what I mean? 40,000 fans took over. So it's hard not to get drawn in. I'm an emotional person, me. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, it's that is very, very out of character.
Did it affect you in any way?
I don't think so.
Did it affect your performance?
I know totally where Steve's coming from and what Steve's thinking. But you know, to my knowledge, in the heat of the moment, you know, my head had gone and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I mean,
but you regained your composure.
When I come off the stage, you know, when we come behind the curtain, I was buzzing a little bit, you know, because of the atmosphere, the weigh-in and that.
So. Yeah.
I wasn't thinking. I didn't come behind the curtain and thought, oh, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him.
You
know,
were in control of yourself.
I was in control of myself, but I understand. I understand totally where Steve's coming from.
Was he what you thought he was going to be in the ring, Mayweather?
I obviously went there thinking I was going to beat him, because I mean he fought Castillo, the first fight against Castillo. I thought Castillo might have nicked it. And then the second fight, Floyd won. And then I saw Floyd fight Marcus Maidana, who is a pressure fighter. He's not, I'm not big as puncher as Marcus Maidana, but I think in speed, ability, footwork,
closing the distance,
engine, you know, like that. So I thought to myself, well, if Maidana's, you know, only got beat by him on a split, I think, you know, I've got a better chance. I've got the tools to do this, and as long as I get close enough, because I mean, I wasn't going to beat him on anything else, Simon, and that's totally honest, isn't it? You know what I mean? And right from the start, I could see that I was in with a different different level of fights. That goes without saying.
And what was Billy saying to you during this fight? When you know the guy's a slickster,
well, Billy wanted me to ease into it a little bit more. And then this is the thing about me and Billy, you know, we could have our game plans, you know, but then, you know,
could adapt.
Billy had asked me something in the corner, I'd tell him back, and if we needed to change it,
we'd adapt you.
We'd change it. But I'll come out the first round, you know, and I'm easing into it, still putting the pressure on him because that's my way.
Yeah.
But as far as my way, easing into it a little bit, and then Floyd moved, bang, and he went lead, left up, ding, like that, and I thought, Jesus, I thought that was rapid. Yeah. So then I thought to myself, I come back at the end of the first round, I said, Billy, I said, I don't think I can ease into this.
Yeah.
If I ease into this, the more space I'm giving him, the more chance I'm giving him to use his speed and ability. I think I've got to move in on him, stay on him, and punch away.
Yeah.
And Billy was like, yeah, okay. He said, but you know, but as you go in, you know what I mean, moving on him quick, but still stay switched on, still stay good defensively. And I went, oh, yeah, of course, obviously, Bill. And I thought that, you know, I needed to move in a little bit quicker. But then And it's like, I hate talking about this because, I mean, people say, oh, he's sour grapes. You're telling me the referee was the only reason why Floyd Mayweather
was.
beat you.
Joe Cortez.
Yeah, but he was,
was.
short. He was shit. He was terrible.
He wasn't allowing you to fight the fight that would have given you an opportunity
and
to
it
win.
It was. I watched the fight on Sky and I watched the HBO version, and you know, everyone could see it. And I mean, if you're a Mayweather fan, you'd go, "Oh, that's just sour grapes, Ricky." Yeah. I'm not saying I'd have won anyway. I'm just.
But you might have had more of a chance.
You cannot look me in the eye and go, "That fight, Joe Cortez did a good job. He let the fight flow, didn't he? Did he, folk?" And that was, to be honest with you, it was sort of like whatever chance. That was the only chance I had.
Were you surprised by it? I mean,
I was surprised by it because, you know, 2 body punches in my previous fight, me, Jose Luis Castillo's, were like that.
Yeah.
Toe to toe, Joe Cortez.
Standing there watching.
Stood there watching it. The Mayweather fight, you know, you can't watch the 2 fights and then come back and tell me you did a good job in the Mayweather fight.
So what's all that about then?
I don't know. I mean, you know, I think to me, I was in the changing rooms before the fight, and we had a TV screen, and as we're in the changing rooms, Tom Jones was singing the national anthem, and they had a gentleman singing the national anthem for America, and you know, Tom Jones sing, you know, God Save the Queen, and then obviously this gentleman come on and sung the American national anthem, and the crowd started booing, and I remember the camera panned on Joe Cortez, and Joe Cortez was like that in the corner going. And it just stuck in my head. I thought,
right,
because I mean, you know, we're used to it in England, as pathetic as it is. We, you know, at football matches, you know, but we're used to it. But in the United States,
like it.
where you know,
you respect the national anthem.
Absolutely. And that's the only way I could put it. The way I look at it, sometimes I think to myself, right, I'm a referee from Manchester, and Floyd Mayweather comes to Manchester.
And all his fans start booing,
and then all the American supporters
start giving it the big one.
You know, start booing "God Save the Queen,"
yeah,
and all like that. If I'm the referee, I'm thinking, oh, "That's you, folks." You know what I mean? I'm thinking, who do these not think they are coming to my hometown booing our national? I would. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, didn't help.
No,
didn't help. You lose the fight, and then there's this, you know, emotional reaction from you about letting people down and the feelings that you let people down. And obviously you were very upset about it. And you've obviously got this massive fan base, which I don't think anybody felt that besides you. But it starts a sequence of events for you, doesn't it? A little bit of a spiral.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I was devastated about the defeat for the reasons I mentioned. You know that I told all these fans I was going to go and do it, and I didn't do it, and I felt like I've let them down. And you know, don't forget I was unbeaten at the time. So an undefeated fight is always dangerous because they don't know they can be defeated. And I went into that fight thinking I couldn't. You know, so when I did get beat, I know people say it's Mayweather, Rick, but no, don't forget I was undefeated. So I think you're not beating me. I'm undefeated. No one's beat me, and neither are you. You know, so and then when he did, it was harder. You know, all functions I couldn't do. I couldn't walk to the shops. I was devastated. Didn't want to leave the house, and I felt like packing it in, to be honest with you. And then I made a comeback fight. You know, I boxed at the City of Manchester Stadium in front of 55,000. That was sold out in about a fortnight. It was incredible.
But go, Ricky, before you get to that, but why have you gone to? It feels to me that so much of you was validated by your achievements in the boxing ring that it almost took it all away from you, and that sent you into a really bad spiral.
Yeah, it did. And
when I'm reading your words, right, and
that was the start. That was the start of it.
Yeah, but was nobody around you? Was there no support around you to see this start to unravel, to see the ramifications of it on you?
People, you know, I started going out on the beer a lot, you know, to be honest with you, you know, and people knew that I wasn't taking it well, and people knew that I wasn't in a particularly good place about it. But I don't think a lot of people knew how bad it was until the documentary, to be honest with you, because I kept a lot of it into myself. You know what I mean? I was living with my partner at the time, Jennifer, and you know, she'd go do the shopping or whatever she was doing, and I'd be in the house crying all day, you know. And then minute she'd come in, I put my brave face, going, "Hey, love, you have a good day, you know, you want a brew," you know what I mean? And likewise, the same with me, with me parents and my mates, you know what I mean? You know, I'd go to the pub, tell a few jokes, put a few one-liners in, and Rick's all right. But you know, it's when I was on my own, I was not in a very good place, and I shielded this, and this sort of like this built up for a number of years, and then when other things went, I had ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs.
You go on, you have a couple of fights, irrespective of the background. You're building yourself back up again. You fight. You end up fighting Paulie Malignaggi, which I think you describe as Paulie Malignaggi was a great fighter.
Yeah.
So it was a good win. You make again, I can relate to this decision without relating to it. You bring Floyd Mayweather Sr. into your camp. Right. What was the thinking behind
Floyd
Mayweather Sr.?
I wasn't in a good place.
Your judgment was flawed.
Yeah. So, you know, when you think, you know, without, you know, racing on a little bit, I got beat by Mayweather, so I was down. Then I boxed at City. Then my frame of mind was back up.
Yeah.
Then I fell out with Billy Graham.
Yeah.
Back down. Then I boxed Malignaggi. None and Liam carried the belts in. I was back up.
Yeah.
So you know, in this time of, you know, I need a new trainer now. I wasn't in a good place. And me and Jennifer were in Las Vegas at the time on holiday. And a friend of mine, he was training Matthew at the time, Lee Beard, very good coach. He said, listen, and he does a little bit of work with Floyd Mayweather Sr., you know, goes to and from. He was going to and from America and Britain at the time. He was working with Floyd. He said, Floyd's in Vegas at the minute. He said, why don't you go and have a look in the gym and just see what he's about? You know, I said, it'd pass a couple of hours for you. You'll have a chat with him, you know, see what you think. So I'd had enough of being sat around there. I'm not a sun worshipper. Me and Jennifer sat around the pool like that. I'm thinking, this is shit, this. But so anyway, I thought I'll go and have a couple of hours with Floyd in the gym. And I got talking to him, you know, and he said this, he said that, you know, and he got the pads out, you know, and he put the gloves on me a little bit. We just had a little bit of a, you know, 5 minute, 10 minute, just a, you know, fight about. And then I thought to myself, well, you know, a new trainer, I said it would give me a little bit more of a spring in the step, you know, someone different, you know, new things, you know, new outlook. I said, you know, yeah, I'll give it a go. And I did. And for the Malignaggi fight, my performance was bang on. And yeah, and the manner of the performance obviously set up the chance to fight Pacquiao. Yeah.
Did you go into the fight thinking you could win it, or did you have reservations?
No, the minute I signed up for the fight, I thought I could win it. 5 weeks before the fight, I thought I could win it. A week and a half before the fight, I thought I've no chance. Yeah.
Okay, different dynamic completely. So the outcome wasn't unsurprising. How good was he?
It's hard to say, you know. If you said to me who's the best for Mayweather, I mean, when I fought Mayweather, I've moaned about the referee, you know, he was saying he did a shit job, which he did, and everything like that. But when I fought, you know, I mean, I expected it against Pacquiao, so I wasn't, you know, I mean, he was very, very good. He destroyed me in 2 rounds, and ultimately, you know, he did a better job than Mayweather, you'd say. But you know, when I come back after the Pacquiao fight, I was just numb, didn't know what to. But after the Mayweather fight, it's the first time I sat in the changing rooms after, and I just sat there on my own, you know, and people are just leaving me to it just to get me head round things. And I just remember sat there and I thought, you know what, Rick, he was fucking good. He was good. Even though the referee, you know, did do it, as we keep repeating, I keep repeating myself. But when I got him on the ropes, how he, you know, I could normally, my left hook to the body, I could put it on a 1 pence piece, you know, that place. I couldn't even, you know, when I said it in Detroit, I just touched his head, you know, and I knew where the body shot was. But he was just, you know, even if I got one through, he got half a shoulder or half a block or half an elbow, and, you know, and moved. And the fact that he knew when to absorb me pressure, and then knew when to put the foot on the gas with me and stuff like that, you know. I mean, yeah, he was very good. I mean, to be honest with you, people ask me a lot, who was the best, Pacquiao or Mayweather? I'd say Mayweather all day, to be honest with you.
But Pacquiao never got the best Ricky Hatton, did he?
Oh, no, absolutely
That's
not.
my point. So
and to be honest with you, you know, don't forget, I mean, I fought Mayweather. I moved up a weight to fight Mayweather at welterweight. Yeah. You know, when I moved up previously, I won the world title at welterweight when I beat Louis Collazo. Yeah. But if you remember Louis Collazo moving up that 7 pound, I know he was a different fighter to Mayweather. He was more solid and more in your face. But that was that was a horrific war for me. That was a right ding dong. You know what I mean? You know, so I moved back down from welterweight to light welter to box Juan Urango and Castillo because I thought that welterweight's not for me. But the fight came against Mayweather. I had to move up again and that. But I thought to myself, listen, you get an opportunity like this, you got to take it.
Yeah.
So it's not only did I feel I had the tools to beat him and the referee did a shit job. Don't forget, I was fighting the best pound for pound fella in the world out of my weight as well. And it's like when I look back, I was devastated at the time. But when I look back now, when I sit here talking to yourself, I think to myself, I look back at it with a bit more pride now.
So you should.
Yeah.
So you should. Retirement brought its challenges. You got yourself in situations with the newspapers, with drugs and drink and stuff. What was that for you? I mean, you got to bleak periods, didn't you? I mean,
it was the worst period in my life because I mean we just talked about how devastating it was to get beat by Pacquiao. But obviously, when I got beat by Pacquiao, it was I had to sort of like say to myself, listen, Rick, you know, something you've done all your life since you were 10 years of age. That's it, Rick. You know, you're never going to box again now. That's it. Boxing is over. And I was sat there and I just thought, and I thought, what am I going to do here now? And then I started, you know, going out and I said, you know, on the piss and on the beer and then taking drugs and stuff like that. And it didn't happen that week. That week I just thought, I'm just going to go out and get pissed and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then, you know, a few weeks of it, drink drugs, weeks as the weeks went by.
Takes its toll.
Yeah, and every time I come home, I'm thinking about things. I'm thinking
self-loathing.
Of all the things that went, you know, not me, no dad, no missus, no boxing, no Billy, no this. And then in the end, I come back one day and I was just started crying and I thought, I don't want to be here anymore.
Right.
Don't want to be here anymore. I can kill myself. You know, what I've worked so hard and I can't share it with my missus. I can't share it with my mum and dad. I can't share it with Billy Graham. No boxing. What am I doing here? You know, and I kept trying to slit my wrists several times. I had to phone the ambulance twice. I had 2 panic attacks. I thought I was having a heart attack. It weren't panic attacks. To the hospital, they went, here's Ricky Hatton again. Then the doctor was saying to me, Ricky, you all right? It's not normal for someone to keep coming.
Yeah.
You've been here 2 or 3 times with panic attacks.
Yeah.
Go and see someone.
Yeah, go and see her.
And I went, no, I'm all right. So carried on with the drink, carried on with the drugs, coming home every night, like trying to. And then I thought to myself,
who was around you at the time? Ricky, who's around you?
No one, none of your mates, really. You know, no, I had the mates, but like you say, you know, I'd go in the pub. They could see that I'm in a bad place, struggling, but trying to shield it, you know, disguise it, you know, and stuff like that. And then I thought to myself, I can't kill myself. So I thought, I'll drink and drug myself to death. I think I'll go into overdrive.
Yeah,
I'll take it even more than what I was doing anyway. And then, and then I got to a stage where I didn't care who I was with, what I was doing, you know.
Who the company I was in,
Didn't care. And then I thought to myself one day, and it was the best thing I did, I thought to myself, I can't do this on my own. Doesn't matter what I can do in that boxing ring. I can beat him, I can do this, I can do that. I said, I can't do this. So I went to a psychiatrist in Manchester, went, you know, booked in, knocked on the door, he answered the door, I fell on my knees, put my arms around his legs. I went, you need to tell me what to do. I went, I'm going to fucking kill myself. You don't tell me. Give me a game plan of what to do today. I will not be fucking here tomorrow. Please help me and tell me what to do. So he come in, give me a hug, sat me down. He started talking about me. He said, all right, Rick, you know what I mean? I want you to stay here tonight. So I stayed there tonight.
Right.
The night, you know, and then the next day he did another talk with me. He went, right, you're going to go home now, but I want you to come back tomorrow. And I kept coming back every day for a number of weeks and stuff like that. Then bit by bit, I got my own little regime going, you know, keeping myself busy and, you know, filling me, you know, where didn't give myself enough time to dwell on all the shit, feeling sorry for myself, all the shit that had happened to me. And then, you know, I'd had a stent away from the pub, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And then bit by bit, just got myself together, started, you know, losing a bit of weight, feeling a little bit better. And that's it. The best thing I ever did was go and get it off my chest because, you know, it's, you know, it's hard for anyone, you know, you can't go to the local. And I've got good mates, you know, I can't go to the local and say to all my mates, lads, can I have a word with you? I'm fucking crying every day. I'm drinking, I'm taking drugs like there's no tomorrow. I'm crying every day. I want to slip my wrist. You know, what do you think I should do, lads? You don't do it, do you? Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, so I had to go to a stranger. And I felt more comfortable in a
Yeah.
stranger because he doesn't know me, I don't
Yeah,
know him. Nothing comes out of this room, and I felt comfortable, to throw everything on the
And he gave you a plan and a
table and
coping
give me a plan,
mechanism.
and
Yeah.
it's the best thing he
Yeah.
did. And still, sometimes I get up in the morning, and I feel like shit, and I think to myself, oh, what is up with me today here? What am I feeling? What I feel like this? All right, I'll go for a run.
But you can
come back.
contextualize it now.
Yeah, have a cup of tea, sit down there. Then I'll go to the gym, train the lads.
Yeah.
Then I'll pick the kids up from school and I'll take them. And then it comes about tea time, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm all right now. It's about filling your hours of your day
absolutely right.
with stuff,
Yeah.
stuff to do. But them bad days are only few and far between
Yeah.
now. I'm very happy to say. It's
Yeah.
only every blue moon now, and that's no
Yeah,
pun
we have a
intended.
bit Man City one in there.
But it's only every blue moon now where I do have a bad day, and I think if I do have a bad day, I know how to keep with it. And the reason why I don't have them bad days is because I've got my little routine and system in place that keeps me where I'm at.
You at peace now with your career, your highs and lows when you
My
look back on
career,
it?
my life, and everything. Like I said earlier, nothing but positive, for me at the minute. I'm an ambassador for for mental health. I do
Yes.
my motivational speaking. I do
Yeah.
me sportsman's dinners, and I get a lot of satisfaction from when I. And it's strange when you go and do your sportsman's dinners and you hit on you do your laughs, your jokes, your funny stories, and
Yeah.
then you hit on the mental health. And it's amazing, it's not just the odd one come up to you after and go,
No, mate.
I've took that on board, Ricky, what you said. I'll stick with that. I'm talking 15, 16, fucking 17. It's frightening.
Every time we do that subject on the radio, the switchboard lights like a pinball machine out of Tommy, because they don't expect, like Chris Kirkland, the Liverpool goalkeeper, or whoever else comes on. Leon Mackenzie used to play for me at Palace, that ended up playing for Norwich in the Premier League, come on and talk about the mental health challenges that they've had and the challenges that they've been through. It is such a response. So I'm not surprised that when you hear it, because they see guys like you and they think you're indestructible. They think that you can't have the challenges that they have. You can't have the difficulties of facing life and the consequences of either your own behavior, the experiences that you've had, or the disappointments. And when they hear someone like you say it, they go, "All right, right, okay, I can relate. I can see my way through." So it's a massive thing.
Yeah,
it's a massive thing.
Like I mentioned, earlier, it's like that's like my medication. Making people happy and smile makes me feel good about myself that I'm making them smile and happy. But I think the top and bottom of it is in my life now. They said, "Where you're happy, you're at peace now." Absolutely, I train my professional boxers now because if I can, when some of my boxers come up to me over the years that I've trained and they turn around and say, "Oh, Ricky, I've paid my mortgage off now. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Rick." I thought, there's my job done.
Absolutely. Right.
When someone says, "Oh, I've just bought my first car, Rick." Oh, nice one of it. Giving a little bit back to the sport that was
Boxing
so
at
good
the
to me.
centre of it again for you.
It's given me, some of the things, me and my family, some of the things I could have never dreamt of. And, if I can help someone in my sportsman's dinners and my motivational speaking, there's someone out there that are in the same boat I was in a few years ago. So if something that I says helps one of them, that's what I'm here for, to give a little bit back. And since I got on been on the straight and narrow for a good few years, I'm not ready for my pipe and slippers just yet.
No.
I'm not Mother Teresa,
No.
but I mean, I said I'm in such a nice place, and now I'm on Dancing on Ice.
That was going to be my last question. You've just taken it away from
in
me.
January. But the point I'm making is, I've done me exhibition, for myself. But it's inspired other people to say, listen, I've had weight problems, I've had drink problems, I've had drug problems. Did you see him a few years ago? Look at him now. And then you see the documentary about how honest I was and everything like that. People with mental health, they've took that and inspired it from. And listen, I wouldn't have been able to fall about on my arse on the ice skating rink a few years ago. They wouldn't even bothered phoning me up to go on it because I was in such a bad place. But I am now. And that's the point I'm making, Ricky Hatton today.
Good.
I'd love to go Vegas and lift them belts up again. And there's only one Ricky Hatton, but that's not gonna happen. But if I am honest, Ricky Hatton's never been in a better place.
But you did all those things.
Yeah.
And there's many people that can only dream of being within a whiff of it. You brought it up, so I'm going to ask you. You're going on Dancing with Ice, right? How are you going to fare on that?
I said, I'll go on it. And then the first time they did like a master class in London, and the first time I went on the ice, I went like that. I went, whoa. I thought, oh, I may have bitten off a bit more than I can.
You've got good balance, don't you?
Can chip, not on the eyes.
Not on the eyes,
No,
no.
in the ring, in the boxing ring, not the eyes ring.
Well,
no.
I mean, they're translating the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they're translating the
But
end.
I got there and I thought, oh, I mean,
You're going to fall ass over tit. Are we going to see
I
that?
thought, have I jumped the gun here a little bit too much? Have I signed up for something I'm just not capable of doing here? But you know, over the last few weeks, over the weeks, I've got better and better and better. You know, I'm gliding and this and certain moves. And I met my partner the other day, and we did like a few different sequences. And I've gone from thinking, phew, no chance. I've took on too much here, to thinking that I might have half a chance. Don't get me wrong.
Win.
Not half a chance of winning it. half a chance of coming off it. Half a chance of coming out of it alive. That's what I mean. Yeah, but yeah, it's everything. Everything I'm doing now. I try my best. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I'm not ready for my pipe and slippers. But anything that I can do, whether it's with my boxers in the gym to give them something that I've got, or whether it's doing dancing on ice or exhibitions or documentaries, something that's going to make people smile and happy now.
Well done, mate. Thanks for being so much fun.
Pleasure.
Up Front with me, Simon Jordan, is brought to you by William Hill. Future episodes can be found on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcasts. 18 plus, please gamble responsibly.